We're muted for that? The public didn't hear us do the Pledge of Allegiance. We're the roll. For those that just heard, Councilmember Blair is excused. Moving on to item number 2, agenda approval. Councilmember Hess.
Move that we approve the agenda as shown.
Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Smith. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Motion carries. All right, on to item number 3. We have special presentations. One of my favorite awards, City of Yelm Employee of the Quarter Award. And this one goes to a special person, Donnie Burnham. Donnie, did you? Sonny, you do a great job for the city here. Full name on there, but I won't say that out loud. But I do want to, you can go have a seat though. I do want to read a little bit about Donnie and why she's Employee of the Quarter. So the City of Yelm Employee of the Quarter for the final quarter of 2022 is our municipal court clerk. Danielle, I don't even know your real name.
Danielle.
Danielle, I'm sorry, Danielle. Everyone just knows her as Donnie over here. Donnie Burnham. Donnie is joined tonight by her dad, sister, and family, her husband, and their twin girls, as well as a few friends. Half dozen friends or so. Donnie started with the city in November of 2017 and was an incredible addition to our team at the time, and even more so today. She is motivated, positively engaged, and a true inspiration. She tackles every task with a graceful determination and is a hard worker who always goes the extra mile. Her customer service with our court and passport customers is superb. She is truly inspirational, and we are so fortunate that she chooses the City of Yelm as her place of employment. Thank you, Donnie, and congratulations. Donnie, you're not required to, but if you wish to, the podium's yours. You want to say something? All right. Well, thank you, Donnie, and everyone who's here for Donnie. There's one other quick presentation if the council will indulge, which is our introduction of Gary Cooper, a new employee that I think Cody is going to introduce.
Yes, so before us, Public Services met Gary Cooper a little earlier. Gary Cooper is our new planning and building manager. I brought him here today because he's a higher up position that kind of has a face that people see. We always used to bring our employees to council when we had them in person, so it's kind of a tradition we want to keep doing. Gary comes with a massive background in planning and building. Building not so much, but planning extensively, and he's got a lot of experience in the area. And so I just wanted you guys to get a chance to meet Gary Cooper, our new planning and building manager. So,
Gary, you want to say anything, please?
Well, I'm heading into my 3rd week and it's already quite busy. There are a lot of really interesting things going on in Yelm. And I've been loving it so far. I've loved the people I've gotten to meet and I'm really excited to be here and I want to be here a long time.
Great, Gary. Yeah, Gary is very qualified for the position. We did a big search. Lots of folks applied for it and Gary was their choice for it. So very happy to have him on board. Moving on to our public comment. Right now we got 5 folks. Is there any more wishing to testify? Any more online? We're looking, we're going to be doing.
Not have any hands raised.
All righty, thank you. And since there's 5, I just wanted to keep it uniform for everybody. So we'll have our timer. Usually it's just 1 or 2 people, we won't do a timer, but since there's a few, we're going to limit to 3 minutes each. And we ask that there's not really much on the agenda tonight, so it's probably not going to be on any of our new or old business. So we'll start off with Jennifer. And please, when you step to the podium, if you wouldn't mind state your name for the record. Jennifer?
Did Tammy go before me?
Sure. I mean, it's still on. Lose your spot. No.
So, hi, everybody. My name's Dr. Tammy Stewart. I'm a physical therapist and owner of PT2Excel here in Yelm. We're right next to CrossFit Yelm and across the street from the post office. Well, what was the street? Now it's closed. So I'd like to discuss that because it's impacting the 6 businesses that are facing that road. We no longer have a storefront that faces a road. So I've had patients who have tried to find me and couldn't, parked at the post office, which is not great for the post office. traffic. And have walked across what's now a closed road and, and uneven and, the giant potholes and stuff. And so it's not particularly safe for them to be walking across the road to come to physical therapy. And so one of those patients was 3 years old with a compression fracture in her spine. So luckily it was on a day that wasn't raining, wasn't icy, wasn't snowing, and wasn't dark yet. So, I'm concerned for the safety of my patients and their ability to find my business. And it is hurting my business. When I'm on the phone with new patients trying to describe how to find me, now I'm in the back of a warehouse complex. So come in off Creek Street, go between the first two warehouses, take a left when you see the second warehouse, come around to the back of the warehouse. Sign's a little shady. And so patients, they're kind of glazing over and they're like, well, I'll probably be able to figure it out. And then they're allowing more time, they're late to their visits. And even patients who have come to my office many times are still struggling to figure out how to get there. And I put up the signs that I can put up, which are like the, small plastic like realtors use. So I've put those in place. They have arrows trying to point the way. So I've done what I can do with what's within my power. And so I would love to see that road become a public road because it is between businesses. And there's lots of side traffic that comes through there. And we've had lots of complaints to our office that it's closed and wondering when it's going to reopen. And when I say it's permanently closed, and I give the reason that our landlord has given to us, which was cost to fix the road. I understand, and I totally get that from a business standpoint, but I would love to see the city come in and work with property owners and business owners to make it more accessible for business owners, for patients, for the gym members that are right next door to us. It does impact more than just the 4 road owners. So I'd love to see something happen there. I don't know what that something necessarily is, but I just wanted to bring it to your attention that it does matter and it is impacting people and even people coming from out of town. About 40% of my clients come from Olympia, DuPont, Tumwater, Lacey, and beyond. And so I'm bringing people into town who are then going to lunch at other businesses. And so I would love to just take a barrier away to bring more people into Yelm and helping the community flourish.
Thank you. Questions, comments, council? Councilor Hess?
Just wanted to, I'll be putting in the report at the end. But we, being the chairperson of the Public Works Committee, we discussed that today. And the challenge is that the road is not a public road, as you stated. It is a private road, and there are 4 property owners that are responsible for that said private road. And you've already communicated with your landlord and the property owners in reference to this, so I don't need to explain that portion. But the challenge is trying to bring it up to code, and that it's a very high cost to do that. If you followed the city council on the first meeting, which is our study session, we had that discussion, and currently the cost is approximately $1.5 million. Just that little piece of road for the city. And so at this time, it's amongst the property owners that they are the ones that need to try to figure out what's going on with that. Yes, the city has right-of-way access with the sewer and water that goes underneath the road, but that's all that we have at this time.
And I do want to add that we have heard from 3 of the 4. I do want to let council too know that I did speak with the owner of the post office property parcel on it, and they weren't really made aware. That's what she claimed. So she wasn't really happy about the situation and is going to be looking to reach out to the other owners as well. See if there can be something, because post office really doesn't want it closed either. And so they're going to be looking for other options as well. If there is something that we can share in the future, hopefully, as far as reopening it, we would absolutely make the citizens aware. Although it is a private road, I get how it does impact businesses and people here as well. Yeah.
May I respond?
Absolutely.
I didn't know protocol.
Sure.
So I'd also like just put ideas out there. I feel like more heads on any problem is better than one. So I'm perfectly happy being the squeaky wheel that, to the landlords, and I have very fun with doing that. That being said, if if there's some possibility to at least be on the back burner or back of people's minds on this council and for the city to maybe make some sort of agreement with the road owners. If they do the required repairs, could then the city take over maintenance for that? Is there a,
Yeah.
could we maybe purchase the road from the owners, et cetera, et cetera? So
Yeah, I think that's something the council would be open to if it was made up, it was upgraded to standards that we need it to be for like a city. There's significant upgrades that need, but we would absolutely consider maintaining it and taking it over. Councilor Hess.
If I can add, that is something that can happen. As you know, one of those properties is not developed. If they, well, there's two, but there's actually one that sits on the corner, and they have had discussions before. And part of the process of them developing is they have to bring up their frontage to city code. And then what happens is it's turned over to the city for maintenance. So yes, it has been brought to our attention through the public service, public works, that if they bring it up to code, the city at that point can take it and do the maintenance of it.
Again,
that sounds super.
it's not an automatic thing. It
No, no,
also-
But it's
That's the process.
And it's likely to, I can't speak for council, but I think they would be open to that. Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening. Thank you.
All right, do you want to go back to Jennifer? We can save you for last if you want. All right. Please state your name.
Jennifer Carmody. I'm here to talk about the same issue, but not from a business standpoint. I frequent CrossFit Yelm and PT2Excel. I would not know. So CrossFit Yelm does have a sign on the back of their building. So say you're coming in from like by the gymnastics center, you can see the sign there, but to be honest, I go to gymnastics and I can tell you most people that go there probably don't realize that the CrossFit gym is there. They park in the front and they have all their little kids that they're trying to wrangle and get in. I would not know, bringing my kids to gymnastics, that those businesses were there. I would pay no attention if I didn't already know. The only reason, and PT2Excel, unfortunately, and I think the electrical place, I think they only have signs in the front. So from the back, anyone that is going to gymnastics still cannot see that. Also, the traffic situation through there has been super fun since the road closed, because there's people going around through gymnastics with all these little kids, going to these other businesses, not maybe thinking about all the kids that are going to gymnastics. And there's a corner there that multiple times I've had like watched people slam on their brakes because they were about to hit each other. So, which doesn't make sense because it's a parking lot. People shouldn't be driving like that, but let's just be honest, they do. So it's just made that whole area more chaotic. And even though I'm not a business owner, I just can see how it is affecting them.
So, thank you. Any questions, comments? Thank you very much. All right, moving on to Joshua. Closer.
Joshua Brisk. Here to talk about soccer fields for Yelm. We're a Prairie Soccer Club. And we don't have many home fields here in Yelm. A lot of your fields have gone from grass to turf. Most of the younger kids we've secured at Longmire, but all the older kids have to be out of district for home games, practices, churches, or other houses if we can find it. So I'm here to ask to see if we can not move mountains, but start moving in that direction to help local supports kind of get an area to practice and play. So wish I could say it's long-winded, but I do appreciate it.
Understood. Any questions, comments from council? Councilor Crossman?
To play, so you need places to play soccer.
Right now we practice at 2 churches and at homes.
Okay.
For Prairie Soccer, because all the fields have gone to turf.
You want to play on turf?
It's a little bit more money per hour, and I wish I could say we have deep pockets for a nonprofit.
Sorry. Council.
Yeah, so that's okay.
Well, I mean, we're trying to see if we can work with you guys to keep it economical for families who are here playing soccer.
Can't you play at the schools or because they're turf? Is that why, or the cost or what?
A little bit of cost, a little bit of all the other sports in Yelm. You got baseball, you got football. So everybody takes presence on certain fields. I wish I could say there's an overabundance of fields here in Yelm. But there isn't.
Washington soccer is kind of
Really?
on that list.
It is American, it's not American football, but it is European football. But yeah, so I'm just here to try to get the ground started and see if we can start a little bit of a cheer toward it, so.
Bug in the air.
Yep.
Councilmember Smith, did you have? a comment?
My question was, where are they practicing now? So, but you answered that in the churches. So are you the one at Yelm Prairie Christian and yeah? Okay, yeah, I see you guys out there. So, okay.
I use what we have here in Yelm.
Sure, okay.
That's why I'm here, just to.
Councilmember Brooks, did you have something?
Yes, I would like to know what a solution looks like for you. Do you have an exact or roundabout idea?
Well, there's lots of ideas. If we can secure land, we can almost get grants from all the soccer areas to pay for almost everything from bathrooms to fields. It's just a problem of having land and having the ability, even if it's a 30-year lease, at least you can start something. You can get support from parent soccer groups from Washington State. One avenue, or you guys have a spot that we could get a lease on, we can work on that. So it's.
Question
Yeah, Councilmember Crossman.
question for Cody then. The property under the power lines, would that be an acceptable use?
It could be, I think you're talking about this commercially zoned property. It could be set as open space. That could be a soccer field with no structures. You can't have any structures under it. But you could have an open field.
What about porta potties, or would that be what we'd have to use?
You'd probably have to use porta potties. Yeah, I'd have to check the code, but you wouldn't be able to put a set bathroom. You can't put any structures under power lines.
That's a spot.
That's right, Kaminsky.
You'd have to check the health concerns for that to be under power lines, so I would think. I don't know. Be up to you guys.
Yeah, I'm sure we do our due diligence.
Yeah.
Any other questions, comments? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, Jason.
So I'm the same as the first two ladies. I'll keep this very brief. My comments, I'm Jason Preston, by the way.
Thank you.
I'm a coach at CrossFit Yelm. So I come in at 6:30 in the morning. What I've noticed is that even on the traffic on Creek Street at 6:30 in the morning has increased quite a bit. So from a congestion standpoint, I don't know if that plays in anybody's, it sounds like the council's on board with what we're talking about anyway. But if you need ammunition to that extra traffic and congestion, I've seen it. Cars trying to turn into the hardware store, then turning into where we can create some sort of an accident type scenario, I think. And with the darkness and all that stuff, half the year, at 6:30, when we're open, about half our classes are dark, half the year. Until, from November until March or so. So from the CrossFit Yelm standpoint, and like I say, it's just really for your ammunition or, talking points, if it helps you. That's what I've seen. And then we have people who are out, obviously we have people that run on the road and it's not, they run on the road from CrossFit Yelm. And just the increased traffic, we're already watching for traffic and trying not to get hit. So just the increased traffic part is what I wanted to mention. That's what I wanted to say. The lady said it all.
Fair enough. Any questions, comments? Thank you, sir.
Yep.
All right, last speaker, Jenny.
Hi, I'm Jenny Swanson. So I'm talking about the same thing with the road. My concerns are very similar to Jen's, because I attend CrossFit Yelm. And so I'm seeing it from more of like a safety standpoint. Whenever I come in, I'm having to go through the back way and you've got gymnastics right there. And you see all these cute kids that are walking and we have to be very careful to go through. But it's now become an increase of traffic
of us trying to come through so that we can get to those businesses and all of those kids that are walking. And, you know, some of the classes are even at nighttime. And so those kids, you know, since they're used to just being able to go into gymnastics without this increase of traffic, they're not thinking about wearing, you know, stuff that is gonna show them off a little bit more so that we can see them. So it gets a little scary, you know, like seeing them, because they could end up getting hurt. And then the only other way that you could get in is a very thin road that's within the businesses. And that one, people are all starting to park right there, so we can't even use that one. So the majority of the traffic that is now coming into those businesses are coming from the gymnastics side. So I think safety should be probably one of your biggest concerns, especially because gymnastics has so many young kids that are going through there, and it puts them at a very large, like at a very high risk of getting hit. And nobody wants that to be happening. And we can even tell that the parents are getting frustrated because they're like trying to park, but then it's blocking all the other businesses so that we can't even get around. So it's just kind of becoming a pretty big safety concern. So if there's any way that we can just put pressure, maybe even on the business or on the landlords, not the business owners, for them to fix it up, to open it. I mean, maybe they just didn't realize how big of a safety issue this was going to be, which I feel like is a lot more important than how much it costs for the road, because it's going to cost them a whole lot more to have to take care of one of those kids that ends up in the hospital if something happens. So, so I think if that's something that we could even bring up to them, yeah, so.
Councilmember Hess.
I have a question for Director Cole. On the concerns that she brought up, the fact that there's no actual assigned parking, there's no, if I remember looking at there's not even striped areas that show anything like that being a commercial property, just like Safeway, Goodwill, those two properties, things have to be up to a certain standard. Is there something we can look at to make sure that they are up to that standard for that property, that they have proper lighting, proper markings and things like that?
They do have striped parking, I know in front of the strip mall type area over by across, I know there's striped parking there, but I'd have to check and see what the total parking requirements for that lot is. Lighting would be, that's normally a business thing, if business owners drive the landlords to increase or upgrade those things because they're like, we need safety. That's the biggest push they have.
I just didn't know from the code point of view with code enforcement, if what we can look at, that we can at least make sure that they are up to code as a commercial property.
Yeah, we can check into that. And one other thing is nothing in our code is shutting that road down. They could open the road tomorrow if the landowner.
Well, I wasn't talking about the road, I was talking about for the parking area itself.
Yeah, you know, it's hard to tell a business unless if they're following, we will absolutely make sure they're following our codes and all that in this city of Yelm. My advice would be for the businesses and the tenants to ask their landlords to upkeep their road and their access. Again, this isn't, you know, the city of Yelm saying you need to do this for, but I agree for what everyone's saying here. It makes a lot of sense for the safety concerns, the traffic impacts, just the drivability of it. I mean, obviously the council and myself are very concerned about this and would like to have this resolved sooner or later. They would love, I'm sure, for us just to purchase it and to upgrade it and all that. And I get that, but it's also a huge project. As Councilor Hess said, 1.5 million, that's expensive for that size of a road. 1.5 million gets us a huge road other places. And, you know, I don't know what our around just right here cost, but it was what?
Mosman?
Yeah.
Well, Mosman, which is a shorter road, was about, as we use the price point, was just under $1 million.
Yeah.
For Mosman, that with lighting, curbs, gutters, sidewalks, that's all what drives up the price. And making it that kind of road.
Thank you, Cody. And if we have to do that for that city or for that road as well, all those improvements also have to be upgraded as well. So I would put pressure on the property owners from a client standpoint, from a business standpoint. They need those entities, and you know, we will do our part and not pressuring them, but speaking with them and asking them, you know, obviously relaying concerns that you've just shared here with us to those property owners. We'll continue to try to work with them to find a resolution that works out. hopefully just opening the street back up and fixing that pothole.
That's a pretty large area to have for traffic, for them to be able to come in strictly from that road, because I don't know if any of you drive over there, but if you even just visit and drive through to kind of see how it works out now, you'll see why we are all so concerned, because there's literally only one small little area that we can get through now, and the other one, we're all just kind of fighting. But I mean, that road opens up the whole front end for every single one of those businesses, and it would keep all the traffic down. And just like what Jason had said, it helps even traffic going through, because they would use that so that it would help divide it between the two roads and the main line. So
If it makes it any better, I think that one of the property owners of the post office that I had the conversation with is saying, within a few weeks, she would like to see something resolved out of it. I'll try to keep the council and public update as much as I can. Again, it's not our road, so we gotta be careful, what we say and all that. But any information that I'm allowed to say, I'll absolutely pass it along. Councilor Richardson.
I might not be able to answer this, but being that it is a private road, is there any explanation of why it was closed in the first place? Is there, somebody can close whatever they want if they only get it, but is there any explanation?
Yeah, basically the cost of repairing the road constantly, mainly that pothole. Some folks thought it was unequitable on the cost sharing in the property owners.
So it would be more inequitable to fix a road and then suffer businesses leasing buildings?
That's not my, that's not my road. Yeah, I get what you're saying though. Yeah, no, I get it. I'd like to see this open. I'm with you.
I think you made a fantastic point, and the biggest thing for the landlords is their liability if there's a lawsuit because somebody gets hurt. I think that's the biggest thing you can impress on them at this point. Yeah, so great point.
Thank you so much. Thank you for everyone coming out and testifying. It's good to hear from the public and what your concerns are, and it's good to council to hear it and myself to hear it. So thank you for that. Luckily, you can stay for the rest of the meeting. It's gonna be a short one, hopefully. So a good one to come to. Moving on to consent agenda. We got the January 3rd, 2023 study session, January 10th, 2023 regular meeting minutes, and December 2022 check register and position summary. Councilmember Hess.
I move that we approve the consent agenda as proposed.
Second by Councilmember Kaminsky. Is there any discussion on this? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to new business, it's not scheduled. Moving on to old business, not scheduled. Moving on number 8, standing council committee reports, starting with public safety committee. Nothing to report? Okay, moving on to public services committee.
Oh, we had our meeting for the month. So I have a lot to put out. As you heard earlier, Mr. Cooper has joined the team. Wonderful individual, had a good conversation with him. As also discussed, we talked about the Algiers Drive and what that situation was. We had the 2022 recap in reference to planning and the building department, just to put out some numbers about that. For a number of residential permits that were issued, single family residential was 99. For multifamily residential was 203, and for duplexes it was 1. For home occupations, there were 77 permits that were done last year. There were 637 business license issued last year. And 26 pre-sub meetings. Those are for the subdevelopments that are going to be done. There's lots of going on there. For the new subdivisions that are under review, there's the Berry Valley townhomes, total of 64 townhomes. They're going through the completeness review at this time. Habitat for Humanity, there's 22 properties that are looking at developing townhomes and single family homes. There's also Leah's Landing, which is 6 duplexes. Crystal Springs, 30 single family homes. Coach Road is 1 single family home. Stevens duplex, total of 2. And the Summit at Thompson Creek, 96 single family homes are under review at this time. For land use completed subdivisions, Mountain View Meadows, also known as the Hutch, 118 were done. Meadows at Mill Pond 21, Vista at Mill Pond 29, The Home of Terror was 152, and Yelm Creek Estates was 22. Let's see, commercial, we had the Masonry Cafe, Bundy Commercial Center, El Rey Bureau, 507 Tap Room, Car Star, 313 Yelm Avenue West, which is the hair salon, Pirelli's, and the Storehouse. Those were all brand new for last year alone. And for long range planning this year, we're looking at the 6 annexations that we discussed last year. They're going through the housing action plan, as well as doing updates to the code. Everything covered there. We talked about the capital projects, which was the Cochran Park Stage 1, also the waste water reclamation facility, talking about how that's getting started, and their report. And that's it for public service.
All right, thank you, Councilman Rest. We'll move on to item C, Finance Committee.
Yeah, there's not too much to report, but since there's so many people here, I do want to speak some confidence to you guys, because everybody loves reading check registries and this list of numbers that we have no idea what they mean. But I will say that Stephanie Dice, as the finance director, is doing a fantastic job. And if there's anything that's in question, Councilmember James Blair, who's not here, sits on that committee, will find it. And also Terry Kaminsky sits on that committee as well. And if she finds anything that's in question or extra, she'll use it to be the city of Yelm. But I do have some confidence in the city, and something, because when you think about finances, you think city. Everybody has a question like, where's all this going? And so when I take a look at things, I always try to find something that looks odd or a little discrepancy. And so then I go, what does this mean? But then Stephanie Dice is doing a great job. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Richardson. All right, moving on to Mayor, City Administrator, and staff reports. You want to start up?
I will. Thank you, Mayor. More updates from the city. The lodging tax funding program is now open. Applications are due by March 1st to be considered for 2023 funding. Application is available and on our website. 2023 funding amount is up to $40,000 total. The Yelm Beautification Grant Program will open up the first week of February. Applications will be due by March 3rd. Application is available on our website. Pictures of projects from 2022 recipients are also posted on the website. And the 2023 funding amount is $25,000 or up to $5,000 per applicant. The State of the City address is at the Yelm Chamber Monthly Forum on February 14th. The Olympia Chamber Orchestra concert will take place at the Yelm Community Center on February 18th at 3 p.m. Admission is free. A few items from our Communications and Recreation Department. They're very busy. The first of the Storyteller series with Hanford McLeod was well attended. We had about 45 people learning about the heritage of the Nisqually culture. Stay tuned for the next in the Storyteller series coming soon. Upcoming events, February 2nd, we will have a groundhog hunt. Find groundhogs hidden throughout Yelm City Park, Cochran Park, and Longmire Park. Take a picture and tag us on your social media, and then you can stop into City Hall for a special groundhog sticker. February 11th, Galentine's Day Brunch. Tickets are available at Yelm City Hall until February 1st. $25 includes a catered brunch, goodie bag, and fake mimosas. Thank you.
Do you want to talk about that?
Try to beat that, huh?
Do you want to talk about that at town hall? Or do you want me to say?
Go ahead. Yeah, I'll leave the town hall.
Any other staff reports? All right. Had a good town hall. Thank you, council members who were attending. There's a good amount of y'all. So thank you. Hopefully that was entertaining for y'all, informative. I don't know what, 50-ish or so people or so. And then a lot of tons of views on the internet, on our YouTube page. Good reception, good questions. We didn't get through many. Politicians like to talk a little bit, so they took a little bit of time. I try to keep mine as brief as I could, but yeah, we had Congressman Strickland, County Commissioner Mejia, as well as wow, why am I blanking on his name? Andrew Barkis. Yeah, State Representative Andrew Barkis. Thank you. And yeah, good questions. Mainly talked a little bit about the airport, talked about bipartisanness in state and feds, and those are the big issues. But yeah, everything's viewable though on our page. Big shout out to Lynn, who's working this. Jason and Aaron as well in IT who helped put that on and did a good job staffing it. Other than that, also did a state of the city for the Thurston County Chamber, talked about some of our highlights and some of our challenges last year. Talked about, you know, the mural program or the murals, the alien murals. They kind of got some, you know, good time here at the council. In our process now, we're doing it with our beautification grant, which I was very happy with and talked about how the council decided that and came up with ideas and all that stuff. And so that was good. Very transparent way of doing it now. And yeah, other than that,
Maybe we have one more on RFP, if that's all right.
I don't know.
Forgot.
Yeah,
Yeah, really quick, RFP is live, which is a request for proposal for the stage upgrades. Those are due by the first week of February. So we already have a couple interested parties. It's design and build. The hope is to get that done before summer. So that is out if you are a builder interested in building / designing our stage in City Park.
and real quick, what's the dog park status?
The dog park, so the status is we're working with HUD about a floodplain. They're worried about the floodplain, even though it's not a flood. We got it solved. We'll have the money for that probably in the next month and then we'll be able to start work on that.
Thanks much. So end of February, hopefully.
I would hope the end of February, open by summer, early summer, late spring.
Good.
Yeah, bring your dogs.
All right, any questions for myself or staff? Any of that stuff? Councilor Kaminsky?
Chief Administrator, I'd like to know if I could come for mold as opposed to ground.
Oh, no.
If I have a-
They are protected.
It's taking pictures.
Yeah, for every gopher you catch, you know, you get a prize. No, just kidding, they're endangered species, don't do that. All right, moving on to number 10, council member reports. We're gonna start off with Councilmember Kaminsky.
Oh, I have a lot. You're saying town hall. I attended the legislative evening. That's what you were calling town hall. So that was very interesting. I think it was too short. Because there wasn't
Yeah.
enough time to really get into good questions with the our legislators. So I would recommend that. And then I attended yesterday the tornado celebration at
Yes.
the high school. That was so much fun. And I didn't realize Nick Allard was one of our alumni, so that was pretty cool. Also, I attended what we call Hill Day at the legislative buildings, which was for the Washington State Realtors. And we got together and put all our concerns up and actually went into the caucuses and talked to our actual people. And it was really, really an interesting thing to do. And a lot of what we talked about is up and coming right now, has to do with city administrations. Their main highlight points were they want to be able to approve detached ADU, additional dwelling units, not just the ones attached to your house, but detached ones in the rural areas, which just makes sense. If you've got 5 acres, you should be able to put another little dwelling on your property. So they're working on that and also streamlining regulations, local design review, local costs, duplication of environmental reviews. And that's not do it over and over and over, take more time and money. So that was a good thing. Also, they talked a lot about the missing middle that everybody's heard about. So building 2 to 6 unit structures, townhouses, small cottages, regardless of zoning is what I got. So I thought that was interesting. Supporting transit oriented development near where you already have public transit. And lastly, increasing our condo supply. Condominiums are not big in the state of Washington because of the regulations, but they're a wonderful way for first-time owners to buy something that's a lot less expensive. So those were the main things that we talked about. And then I have our fabulous Nisqually River Council update. And for those of you that don't know, it's a council of many, many different environmentalists and all sorts of extremely interesting people preserving the watershed of this area and the sound. So we talk about everything from salmon to beaver. It's really a National Geographic kind of meeting. But this week, we talked about, we had a guest speaker, Richard Honor, who wrote a book called Sludge Tracker. So Cody, you will not really like this one. We learned so much, but I had to write down a few things that I thought were really important of interest. And they're not really fun facts, they're kind of gross, but I'm going to talk about them anyway. Medicare pays out $1.3 trillion per year on chronic diseases. Our medical system treats diseases, but never attempts to prevent them. And now cancer is considered normal or expected. Epigenetics, which is the study of how environment affects your body, can travel 5 generations. So what happens to us 5 generations before and after affects our health and our bodies. This gentleman studied around the world, everything to do with wastewater, sludge, all that stuff that we talk about, from Antarctica to everywhere you can think of. Very cool individual. And he gave us a visual. The just one of the King County sludge sites is 1,000 acres. And now sludge is human solid waste, and 900 feet deep. 900 feet deep. I just couldn't even imagine that.
Pretty deep.
Yeah, that's a bunch of deep. And sludge contains over 400,000 chemicals that are not known. We only test apparently for 3 of them. So, and they can't even measure what goes into the ground because the chemistry of what happens to that is unknown. It's unknown and can't be studied. Obviously, it's huge pollution, and that plastics are the carriers of those toxins. Nice face, Stephanie. I told you it was gross. So he said the word biosolids is actually an artificial construct. And is defined as solid residue from domestic sewage, whether it has industrial waste in it or not. And no matter how we treat this, biosolids and sludge are not safe, and they contribute to what he called climate collapse, which I thought was probably a more accurate word. And chronic diseases are incited by the cumulative effects of long-term slow exposure, slow levels in environmental contaminants and pollutants. Then he talked about air, food, soil, and water are essential resources that are actually like a national security. Stormwater runoff is the worst of all pollutants because it proliferates viruses, parasites, and all sorts of nasty things. And he even said that it could be looked at as a type of biowarfare, i.e. with COVID and those type of things. So what was the answer at the end of this 2 hours of torture? Thermolytic decomposition of sludge, which is achievable in Europe. I think they incinerate, they have a way to incinerate it. And in the UK, they have 14 of these facilities that actually create renewable energy from their sludge.
Should we get started on making one of these?
Right away. So basically, the US is so far behind in this kind of innovation, it's crazy. And consequently, we're one of the sickest countries in the world. So just, that's my happy report.
Thank you, Terry.
You're welcome.
Yeah, is there a question?
No.
Moving on. Thank you, Councilmember Kaminsky. Councilmember Brooks.
I would like to start by thanking each and every one of you for filling these seats tonight. It's really important that we as a community participate in local government, and that's what you're doing by being here tonight and well watching us live too. I don't have anything gross to report. I'm going to start with what my week looks like so far. So January 11th, I attended the Creative District Task Force with Terry here. And then the very next day, I was at the Yelm Homelessness Task Force with Crossing over there and Blair as well. And then that same evening, the Yelm Community Schools study session at RMS, that was well presented. Love RMS. And then a couple days later, the Senior Center breakfast. They have the second Saturday of every month breakfast, and it's delicious. You get a big bang for your buck. I think it's like $8 cash. You get like 2 huge plates, and it's a good time. Then I was at the Senior Center again for their Tuesday talk. So that's something I think it's the third Tuesday. Second Tuesday of every month. And that's where they host a speaker. This time it was Fire Marshal Matt Russell, who inspired me to do something tomorrow. And then the following day, the community conversation at Yelm Fun. None of you guys said that, but we all were there. That's something that happens every month. Where's it going to be next month?
We haven't decided yet.
It's undecided. Great.
Thank you for reminding. We will.
Yes.
Tomorrow.
My pleasure. That very same day was the government town hall, which I attended, and it was great. It was super great. The very next day was the storytellers, Nisqually culture. That was awesome too. Then it was down to business at the steady meeting where the hot topics were the Tenino sex offenders and event highlights for the city of Tenino. And then, of course, I expressed what we were doing here in Yelm. It was 2 days later, well, a couple days later, the tornado celebration, that was yesterday. So all of that until yesterday, that I did not expect to be down in front. I thought I was going to be in the stadium with everybody else. So that was a pleasant surprise. Tomorrow, it's Caffeine and Kindness fundraiser at Prairie Elementary, where you go to Prairie Elementary, they have a coffee cart, and half of your purchase is given back to the PTO to use as their fundraising. I think it's amazing. You get coffee, and then you have the opportunity to purchase a coffee for a faculty member at the same time, because they can't get enough gratitude. Love the Prairie teachers. That same day tomorrow is the community resource fair, where we are starting the PIT census, which is the point in time count, where Love Abounds here is counting how many people in Yelm are experiencing homelessness. That's whether they're living in a vehicle, living in a camper, sleeping on a couch, or under the care of an extended family member, which is often. Last year, there was 56 and the number was jumping, but we anticipate the number to drop because Love Abounds here is doing so great at getting people to where they need to be and breaking down those barriers so where they can be housed again. Then the best part about the community resource fair tomorrow is we're giving away the life-saving tools, fire safety tools. So sponsored by J&I. They contributed the funds that we needed to pass out 50 fire extinguishers, 100 smoke detectors, and then replaceable 9-volt batteries as well. So that's tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Any homeowner can come and grab one. No questions asked. And that's what I've got.
So 3 9-volt batteries.
Yeah.
Do you know how much those cost, please?
Yes, I do. They are $3 a pop. And that's at Home Depot with buy more, save more discount.
Just letting people know 9-volt, yeah. You have a turnout.
Just for the batteries.
I want to make sure the city gets them. That costs here.
Fix the clock.
Thank you, Councilmember Brooks. Councilmember Hess.
Nothing to report from committee wise. One thing I do want to put out is for our veteran community out there. The VA just recently started January 17th. If you are a veteran with mental health issues or in particular suicidal thoughts, they have opened up where you can go to any facility. It's not just a VA, but any facility, public or private, at no cost. So I just want to make sure that our veteran community within the city of Yelm gets to have that and understand VA. I haven't really seen much put out about that at this time.
I think we are putting it up on our website. We haven't already, so. Thank you, Councilmember Hess. Councilmember Smith.
Okay, on the 11th, I attended the Southeast Thurston Fire Authority meeting and the new commissioner, Bill DeVore. It was his first official meeting. So I don't know if everybody knew that, but so it was good to see him in this new role. On the 14th, I did attend the senior center breakfast. And again, it is the second Saturday and Ashley's right. They had, they have eggs, bacon, cinnamon rolls, waffles, everything. So, and it helps support them. On the 18th, I attended the town hall and I was actually able to meet the new sheriff in person. So that was nice. Got to chat with him for a couple of minutes. And on the 19th, this is a tough one. I attended the Law and Justice. I'm on the Law and Justice Council. And I attended the meeting in person because now they're back and they're in their new building. It's a beautiful building. One of the big topics was the introduction to the homeless court model. they presented the San Diego model that has been in place since 1989. So the goal of a homeless court is to provide an alternative to misdemeanors, traffic violations that will not tie up the actual court system. Individuals are provided a provider that would work with them. And instead of having like a monetary or something like that, you know, assigned to them, they would go through different programs and that would kind of pay their debt. One thing that kind of caught my attention was that if a person goes into this homeless court and they have an open warrant, they will not be arrested because it is a safe place. So personally, that kind of rubbed me the wrong way, but that's just my opinion. The other topics, we talked a lot about a lot of the legislative bills to keep an eye on. There are a lot if you go out to the website. And I encourage people to go out and read some of them. And if you're not happy, there's buttons on there. You can, you know, state your thing. A couple that I'm just going to point out, House Bill 1174 is improving access and removing the barriers for jail-based voting. And then this one is the one that I have concern with. It's House Bill 1432. It's concerning juvenile justice. There's a new section that's added that there would be no fine, administrative fee, cost surcharge, or restitution may be imposed or collected by the court or any agent of the court against any juvenile, any juvenile's parent or guardian or person having custody. So if you're a homeowner and unfortunately a juvenile causes property damage, you know, you're kind of on your own at that point, because if this passes, there would be no fine imposed. So, that was 1432. There is a good one, Senate Bill 5361, that they want to impose a 1% tax to assist in the support of getting more law enforcement officers. So.
Thank you, Councilmember Smith.
That's it.
Councilmember Crossman.
That's not a good one.
Well-
Raising taxes.
Well,
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so let's address the Algiers Road real quick, something that came up that didn't get mentioned. As a small business owner, as most of you know, you probably know where I stand on that in agreement. So, but it has shown a great weakness in our code. You know, Yelm's no longer the little town that I grew up in anymore. It's becoming a big city. And there's a lot of things that happen in the past, being a small town, you can do that can't do no more as being part of the city. So a couple of things that are coming up is updates to the code to hopefully ward off some of this stuff from happening in the future. And I think that some of the things we have to fix are going to cost us. It's going to hit us in the pocketbook. You know, we have to pay for, you know, for growth. I think that's the cost of growth. So just want to say that all these, I'm sure there's more issues that are going to come up. There's been several since I've been on council I'm just surprised at, but then I realized it's a cost of growth. Things I'm like, really? That's really a thing? We got to do this, but I realized part of being a big city that we are becoming is there's some things we have to do that we may not like. Pay some bills. Homelessness, meaning that we have a day, so we'll be putting forth a measure to create a homelessness committee that should be talked about at a study session in February. Is that on the docket?
Yeah, it is brought up. Yeah.
We did request that be put on the agenda. So if you'd like to hear more about what we are proposing for that,
It's either in the February or March study session. We're checking right now. Yeah.
we were understood it was on February already, so we'll be presenting that, and which will go to council for a vote and what we want to do with that. So look forward to that. And
Checking right now, but thank you, Councilmember Crossman. Councilman Richardson.
No, I attended the Yelm High School tornado celebration. That was fantastic. The mayor spoke well. The mayor, said he played some sports in high school. And so I leaned over to the football team and I said,
Oh.
tennis.
Okay, I was like, your letter.
And I asked him, he confirmed it was tennis. I got nothing against tennis. I just, I saw that one. So anyways, that was good. Thank you guys for coming tonight. It's just a good thing and it's well spoken as well. And what I really want to emphasize is when you spoke, it was very good. You spoke because it wasn't out of anger and animosity. It was well spoken and the tonality was great. It was heard and understood. And so when you communicate, thank you for communicating well. Because sometimes we have folks that communicate and they come in here and they try to communicate, but they don't communicate well because their tonality is just off filter. And then usually those folks aren't heard and just thought of as crazy. And so thank you for speaking well. I think that's a good thing. And so I hope there's heavy consideration on behalf of everybody here to really consider what was said tonight. I used that road quite a bit up until they closed it. And so I think I've gone to Dairy Queen less because of it. Other than that, I attended the senior center breakfast as well. And again, we got to support our seniors in the community. The senior center is a very thriving place right now. So again, the second Saturday of every month, they have that breakfast and it was good to see other council members there. And that was good for the senior center when they see actual city officials there. And I think they get excited. Well, you guys actually know us and care about us and support us. It's a big deal. And so thank you for showing up. Thank you for showing up. Nothing against those who didn't show up. You're busy, you got a job. But again, re-emphasizing the fact that I really do, we shouldn't get nervous when we see people show up at a city council meeting. We shouldn't be nervous at all. We should be excited that there's people who want to get involved in their community and share some concerns. And the way you guys did it tonight was very well done. And as long as people communicate like that, I think everybody's going to try their hardest to make things happen. So.
Thank you, Councilman Richardson. And I echo those same sentiments about everyone showing up here and doing a great job speaking. It was well received. I did want to add on though for that football game or for the football celebration that those rings that cost, hundreds of dollars, if not more. I think a little over 20,000, the 22,000 that the city of Yelm businesses and individual donors put forth to pay for those rings. That was very commendable, and that it just reminded me of, what Yelm is. It's happened many a times here in Yelm where we've done that, where we come together for the community and get those things done. I did talk about with a couple council members that were there that maybe the council might want to consider in the future if there is an instance where a high school team goes to state and wins and has the opportunity to win the championship ring like these young men did for us, that maybe we start a program where the city might consider purchasing those rings. I don't think it would happen often. I hope it happens a lot, but winning a state champ, this was the first one in 100 years that we won. So for a state champ for football, there's been a few others. Has there been many? There's
Best team in 2002, one state, but no one noticed.
I remember that. That was a big year for us. It was a big year for the city of Yelm, but so like 20 years almost. It doesn't happen often, but I think it would be, a good use of taxpayer money if we did this for senior, not seniors, but our teams in general, if they are able to make it that far and win. Yeah. Anyway, something that council might want to consider. But anyway, anything else good for the order?
Was there
Richardson.
maybe a voucher approval form that we were supposed to sign, or I didn't see? I saw it in the agenda, but I didn't see one physically.
We'll have it at the next
Yeah.
meeting.
Okay, cool.
Move to adjourn?
Is there a second?
Yeah.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
You opposed, say nay. Mini adjourn.